What you're going to be learning about today is the plot structure of a tragedy. And most of you, or hopefully all of you, understand what I mean by plot structure. We learned a lot about plot structure in 7th grade and how the plot of a narrative looks. But today we're going to be learning about how the plot of a tragedy looks. And the tragedy is the type of play that Romeo and Juliet falls under. So how you're going to complete this lesson. The first thing you need is your plot structure page from class today that I handed out that sort of looks like a mountain. Okay. As I talk about each item on the screen, you want to fill in your page with the correct item that is located in the same spot on the screen. Okay. And then you want to be ready to apply what you've learned tonight in class tomorrow. So this is what the plot structure of a tragedy looks like. It's a little bit different than the plot structure of a narrative. The shape of it is a little bit different. So what I'm going to do now is have you fill in the different elements in each of the boxes. So the first element is exposition or introduction, which is the same as the plot structure of a narrative. Then we have the exciting force. Then we have the rising action, which is another element that you should recognize. Then we have the climax. Again, you should know what this means. And the falling action. And we have the moment of final suspense. And then finally we have the catastrophe. So just give you a minute to make sure you have all of these items filled in on your own chart. The exposition and intro is something that you should already understand from the plot structure of a narrative. So just think for a minute about what that means, the exposition or introduction. Hopefully you're correct. It's a section of the play where the setting and characters are introduced. So we learn all about who is in the play and where it takes place. The exciting force is something that happens in the play that gets the action moving. So it is the very first piece of action that takes place in the play that sets us on our path towards the catastrophe. Then we have the rising action, and the rising action is just the same as it is in a narrative. It's a series of events leading up to the climax. Let's see if you can remember what the climax of a story is. It's going to be the same, similar as the plot structure of a tragedy. Climax is the turning point where the protagonist or the main character seems to be headed downward. So it's that moment where we realize that something might go wrong with the protagonist. And then we have the falling action. And the falling action is the series of events following the climax, and these events go against the protagonist. So it's something bad that happens to the main character. Then we have the moment of final suspense, and that is the part of the story where it seems as if events are going to go the way of the protagonist after all. So it seems as if they're going to live happily ever after, that everything's going to be okay. And then finally we have the catastrophe. And the catastrophe is just like it sounds. It's not something that's good. Okay? The catastrophe is the complete downfall of the protagonist. And in many cases this downfall is the death of the protagonist. So you want to make sure that you have each of these events filled in correctly on one side of your plot chart that I gave you in class. Okay, and then we will be using the other side for an activity tomorrow in class, so make sure that you leave that blank for the time being. You can watch this video anytime you need to review.